Hello students, welcome to my class. So today we will be studying the topic reduction in the paper organic synthetic methods. So this comes in unit 1 of organic synthetic methods. We have already studied about oxidation. Next is reduction, that is reduction is nothing but it is referred to as the addition of hydrogen to the unsaturated groups like carbon-carbon double bond. So in case if there is a carbon-carbon double bond in the chain, then we are converting it into carbon-carbon single bond. How is that done? By the addition of hydrogen. And it can also be done to carbonyl groups or any aromatic nucleus. So, what are some of the examples of reduction? One is conversion of ethylene to ethane, or usually aldehydes, they are converted into alcohol by the addition of hydrogens. And same way ketones, like for example acetone, it is also converted into alcohol. So on reduction, aldehydes and ketones, they are usually converted into alcohol. So addition of hydrogen with the fission of bond between two atoms is referred to as reduction. So they have given us some of the examples for reduction. Here you can see the first example, that is ethene. It is unsaturated carbon-carbon double bond is there, and we are converting it into ethane by the addition of hydrogen by using palladium as a catalyst. So we'll be studying about different catalysts that is required for carrying out reduction. Same way reduction of aldehydes, you can see they are reduced to give alcohol. Same way this is a ketonic compound, on reduction it will give an alcohol. So there are two types of reduction, that is catalytic reduction we call it. Two types that we have to study in this topic, that is one is homogeneous and heterogeneous, depending upon what type of catalyst we are using. So it is called as catalytic hydrogenation or reduction, where what type of catalyst we are using tells us if it's heterogeneous reduction or homogeneous catalytic reduction. Okay, so we will be studying about each of them. So among these two types, we will first study about we'll first study about heterogeneous catalytic reduction. Okay, so what is heterogeneous hydrogenation? What is hydrogenation? Hydrogenation, nothing but reduction only, because reduction means addition of hydrogen, which is also called as hydrogenation. So you can either call it reduction or you can call it hydrogenation, which means the same. So among homogeneous and heterogeneous, we will study first about heterogeneous hydrogenation. So it is one of the most convenient method for reduction of organic compounds. So in this method, what they're doing is stirring of the substrate is done along with the catalyst in a suitable solvent in the atmosphere of hydrogen, because hydrogen, we are adding hydrogen, correct? So hydrogen is required, and the apparatus used in such a way that how much amount of hydrogen we are taking, that can be measured. And once the reduction is complete, that is once that organic compound that you have added completely takes up all the hydrogen, the catalyst is got as such by the end of the reaction. It is removed by filtration and the reduced product is obtained in pure state. So here some of the compounds that we can use for reduction in case of heterogeneous hydrogenation is, one is chains containing CC double bond or CC triple bond, or chains containing or organic compounds containing carbonyl group, carboxyl group, nitrile group, nitro groups, or many other aromatic compounds. So different types of catalysts, they are used in case of heterogeneous catalytic hydrogenation. Some of the examples they have given is, we are using mainly here finely divided metal pieces or metallic oxides or sulfides. So some of the major examples of different catalysts that we're using here in case of heterogeneous catalysis is platinum metal, palladium, nickel, copper chromite, etc. So here next we are going to be studying about how is the mechanism of heterogeneous catalyst. So they've given you here in two lines, that is reduction takes place on the surface of the catalyst. So on the surface of that particular catalyst, you know that all the organic reaction, the catalyst provides a surface for the organic reaction to take place. Certain sites on the catalyst, the organic compound will bind and the reaction will be taking place, correct? So here it takes place on the surface of the catalyst, which absorbs both hydrogen and the organic compound, and both the hydrogen and organic compound, they come in contact with each other on the surface, and the transfer of hydrogen takes place from the catalyst to the molecule. So hydrogen that is there on the surface of the catalyst is then transferred to this organic compound, resulting in its reduction. So in general, it is found that hydrogenation takes place by the addition of hydrogen atom to less hindered of the unsaturated sites. So where there is less steric hindrance, that is, if there is a lot of bulky groups surrounding that double bond, then reduction is comparatively difficult. To add hydrogen there, it is very, very difficult. But if there is very less steric hindrance, the number of groups surrounding that double bond is less, then hydrogenation will preferably take place at that site. That is what they are telling. So now we will study some of the heterogeneous hydrogenation catalyst individually, and what are they called. So first is platinum. Now this is important, students. They can ask you a catalyst like PTO2. Can you tell the name of that catalyst? Then you should know it is Adams catalyst. Or they might ask you what is the composition of Adams catalyst. Then you should be able to tell. So platinum, usually it is used in the form of oxide and the powdered form. So the platinum metal catalyst, how can it be prepared? By reduction of metallic salts in the presence of suitable supports. So they are using platinum catalyst, that is, it can be obtained by reduction of metal salts with sodium borohydride or trialkyl silane. So one of the important platinum catalyst is the Adams catalyst, which composition is nothing but PTO2. Other than that, you can also use platinum salts. Usually in the reaction, you might have seen above the arrow they will write PT, and then in a bar they can write sodium borohydride or trialkyl silane, meaning to say that in the presence of that salt, in proper supporting agent like a suitable support like sodium borohydride or trialkyl silane is being used. So next is palladium catalyst. Palladium is also one of the most widely used catalysts like platinum. Okay, and its activity is almost same as that of platinum. So it can be palladium supported catalyst is commonly used. Whenever you are taking these salts like platinum or palladium, they are usually supported by some other catalyst like sodium borohydride, trialkyl silane, charcoal, CaCO3, etc. So here palladium catalysts commonly used are palladium on charcoal or CaCO3 or BaSO4. So usually you're using like a suitable support because these are all salts. So you need another supporting agent for that. Okay. Uh, because of these supports like charcoal, CaCO3, BaSO4, it increases the contact of the catalyst with the hydrogen. Okay, the palladium salts. So palladium on BaSO4 deactivated by sulfur compound. This is one of the important catalyst that is used in Rosenmann's reduction. You might have studied about Rosenmann's reduction. It is a conversion of acid chlorides to alcohol. In your previous units, you might have studied about Rosenmann's reduction. So in this reduction, what we are using is palladium on BaSO4 deactivated by sulfur compound or quinoline. Another important catalyst of palladium is called as a Lindlar's catalyst, which is palladium on CaCO3 deactivated by lead acetate. This is a very important question, students. What is Lindlar's catalyst? That is palladium on CaCO3 deactivated by lead acetate. And why is it used? It is used for partial reduction of triple bonds to double bonds. Next is nickel catalyst. Nickel catalyst, it is used in extensively in laboratories and industries, and it is usually used as Rani nickel. This Rani nickel, it is obtained from the Rani process. This is a process in which an alloy containing 50% nickel and 50% aluminium, it is heated together with NaOH at around a temperature of 50 to 100 degrees Celsius. So usually we use nickel catalyst as Rani nickel. And also Copper chromite is also used as a catalyst in the form of CuCr2O4, and it is obtained by thermal decomposition of copper ammonium chromate. And this, for certain catalyst, you know that there should be a certain reaction temperature and pressure that should be maintained. So this catalyst, it is very effective at a temperature of 100 to 200 degrees Celsius and a pressure of 200 to 300 atmosphere. And copper chromite, it is usually used as, it is used to reduce the esters to alcohol, amides to amine, and also it is but it cannot reduce the aromatic nucleus. So any aromatic compounds cannot be reduced in the presence of copper chromite. So these catalysts, they are highly selective. Only few applications are possible from some of the catalysts. So in case of copper chromite, you can use it whenever there is esters or amides. You can use them for reduction, but you cannot use them whenever there is an aromatic compound that is present. So we will study some of the examples using these four catalysts that we studied. That is, one is copper chromite, one is Raney nickel, and one more is palladium and platinum. So first, an important example is the reduction of alkene. The reduction of carbon-carbon double bond is the easiest to do out of all the reduction, and it can be done under mild condition. However, if it's a little hindered alkene, that is if there are bulky groups that are present. Now these are all some of the simple alkenes example that we have taken. So if it is slightly bulky groups surrounding the double bond, then it is slightly difficult. So we might have to go for certain vigorous conditions for reducing that particular alkene. But simple alkenes, their reduction to alkane is very simple, and frequently used catalyst in the reduction of alkene is either platinum or palladium, and in certain cases Raney nickel will also be used. So what type of catalyst you can also always use extensively used is platinum and palladium, and in certain cases Raney nickel also is used. So depending upon what type of groups are present, how is the structural arrangement, seeing how much hindrance is there, you will go for whatever catalyst is required there. What catalyst is the best, that catalyst you will select. So here you can see in cineamyl alcohol there is a double bond here, so reduction will take place at this double bond. Reduction, you are adding hydrogen here. So we have taken Raney nickel here as a catalyst. You can take either platinum, you can also take palladium. So in case of Raney nickel, what did we do? We added hydrogen to both of these carbons, having only one hydrogen. So we added one more. So you can see it has got converted into an alcohol, that is C6H5 CH2 CH2 CH2OH. The double bond is no longer present. It is a single bonded species. Same way here in 1,2 dimethyl cyclohexene. Hexene got converted into hexane. That is, this double bond is, that is got reduced. So we get a racemic mixture of cis and trans in this case. And here the catalyst that we are taking is platinum catalyst. Same way here in this third example also, we have taken a platinum oxide catalyst for reduction. So in all the previous examples that we saw, all the three examples, the addition of hydrogen was taking place predominantly in the syn fashion, meaning to say that both the hydrogens were adding simultaneously to both sides of the double bond. So if this is the double bond here, one hydrogen would get added here, one hydrogen would get added here simultaneously together. That is called as addition of hydrogen taking place in syn fashion. Okay, so for an alkene, the ease of reduction decreases with the degree of substitution on the double bond. So what are they telling us? That as the substitution on the double bond increases, as the bulky groups on the double bond become more and more, or substitution on that double bond becomes more, then the reduction, the ease with which the reduction is carried out is coming down. Okay, because of this property, we can do selective reduction of some of the substrate which have more than one double bond. Now here you can see that in case of limonene, okay, there are two double bonds here. So in this case, you can see that this double bond is comparatively easier to reduce than this double bond here, because here there is a substitution of a bulky CH3 group and then it is in the aromatic ring, whereas this is not in a ring, this is outside the ring, plus there is not so much of a bulky group present. So in case of limonene, you can see that if the hydrogenation is stopped by absorption of 1 mole of hydrogen, that is when we are trying to hydrogenate it with 1 mole of hydrogen, we get a product that is para-menthene. Okay. On the other hand, if we are taking one more molecule that is almost similar structure, only difference is that this double bond is now outside the aromatic ring. That is in case of para-menthadiene. If there is no hindrance, in which there is no hindrance at all, so there is no steric hindrance, it completely reduces and gives the reduced product that is para-menthane. Okay, so what is the difference between this limonene and menthadiene? Here in limonene, you can see that there is slightly steric hindrance to this particular double bond one, because it is present inside a ring. You know that when it is present inside a ring, that double bond will face certain steric hindrance, because this side also carbon is there, this side also carbon is there, plus there is substitution, one group is being substituted onto one of the carbons, whereas here both the double bonds to be reduced are present outside the ring. So here, when it is made to reduce with 1 mole of hydrogen, what happens? Only selective reduction of this double bond takes place, and that double bond gets converted into single bond CH3, whereas this bond remains as such. Whereas in case of para-menthadiene, you can see both of these double bonds gets reduced at once, and here also CH3 will get, here also we will get CH3. So that is the result of presence of bulky group, and how it selectively reduces only one bond when there is a presence of a bulky group. Next is the reduction of triply bonded species like alkynes. Now, alkynes can be completely reduced to alkenes, or we can also partially reduce them to alkenes. So, the catalyst that we are using in order to reduce alkynes partially to alkenes is usually Lindlar's catalyst. What is Lindlar's catalyst? We already studied, that is palladium calcium carbonate catalyst, which has been deactivated by the addition of lead acetate. So deactivating, or we tell it as partially poisoned in the presence of lead acetate, that is called as Lindlar's catalyst. Also we can use here palladium in BaSO4 or CaCO3 can also be used in order to reduce the alkynes to alkenes, that is partial reduction of alkynes. Next is the reduction of aromatic compounds. Aromatic compounds, they are also can be reduced, but they are comparatively difficult to be reduced by catalytic hydrogenation, being because of their steric hindrance that they provide because of this structure. So whenever we try to reduce benzene with platinum oxide, what do we get? We get cyclohexane. So what are you doing here? All that double bond will get unsaturated bonds will get converted into single bonded species. So we are all adding one hydrogen each at each of the carbon atom here, so we get cyclohexane. Same way here in the reduction of substituted benzene, like here in the place of R they can be COH, NH2 or OH group, that it can be a benzoic acid, or if we put OH it will become a phenol, or if we put NH2 it will become an aniline. All of them, they can be reduced in any of the catalysts. So here we have taken Rani nickel catalyst. What happens? The double bond here gets reduced to all the single bonded species. So next is the reduction of beta naphthol with Rani nickel. So Rani nickel will do partial reduction of beta naphthol to give a racemic mixture of one of the product, that is one of the ring will get reduced in one of the product, and in the other product the other side of the ring, because beta naphthol, this is the structure of beta naphthol having two aromatic ring, correct? So in one of the a mixture of two products will be obtained, where product A will have one part of it reduced and product B will have other part of it reduced, and the major product that is obtained is tetrahydro beta naphthol, which is this one. that is obtained as in 85%, and the other is just 7%. So the major product obtained in this reduction is this one, tetrahydrobutanol. And mandelic acid gives hexahydromandelic acid on reduction in the presence of rhodium alumina in methanolic solution. However, when it is reduced with palladium catalyst, what do we get? We get phenyl acetic acid. So here you can see in the first case you can see that when it was done in the presence of rhodium alumina catalyst, the ring got reduced to a hexa substituted ring, because here there was the alternate single and double bond in the ring. Here it is an ring having hydrogen, so there is no double bond in this case. Whereas when we are using palladium catalyst, what happened? The ring did not undergo any reduction, whereas this group here, the OH group, got removed. When we are adding hydrogen, water elimination took place and this OH group went out, and one more hydrogen got added to this CH. So we have CH2 COH left. So you can see that when we are using different catalysts, the reduction mechanism is different. So some catalysts, they can only partially reduce, whereas some catalysts, they will only reduce the aromatic ring, whereas some catalysts, they will leave behind the aromatic ring and they will only reduce the functional group that is attached, or the substitution to the ring, etc. So here some of these examples that is mentioned is very important. You need to know which type of catalyst is used in what type of reduction. So if in exam, even if the reactant and the product is asked, and if the catalyst is supposed to be told, you should be able to tell what type of catalyst. So here two pathways are present, correct? So if they give you any one of the reaction, that is this reactant and this product, and they will ask you what type of catalyst are we using, you should be able to write it is the palladium catalyst, because this is a very selective reduction. If you take rhodium, you will not get this product, correct? So next is same thing in naphthalene. First we studied in case of Rani nickel, what happened? Naphthalene it undergoes partial reduction. This is in case of naphthalene. This is not naphthol, this is naphthalene. It can be reduced partially or completely depending upon the reducing agent. What is the difference between naphthalene and naphthol? Here in case of beta naphthol, there is one OH group. It is an alcoholic compound, correct? There's an OH substitution here. In case of naphthalene, it is just two fused rings. So yeah, if you want to reduce it, naphthalene can be reduced in the presence of different catalysts. One is platinum, or it can be also done using nickel catalyst. So if you do this reduction in the presence of platinum catalyst, what happens? So we will get a cis product, which is something like this in stereochemistry representation. Whereas if you do it in the presence of a nickel catalyst, what do we get? We get a trans product. So depending upon what catalyst you're using, your product will also change. So in case of aldehydes, you should remember that if there is aliphatic aldehyde, that is a straight chain aldehyde, they can be reduced to, what do aldehydes and ketone give on reduction? They give alcohol. So under mild condition, the reduction can be done in the presence of platinum or Rani nickel or lithium. However, if they are aromatic aldehydes and ketones, then we specifically use palladium catalyst, because reduction of aromatic aldehydes and ketone can only be done by palladium hydrogen catalyst. So if they are aliphatic, a reduction of aliphatic aldehyde to alcohol is given. The usual reagents that we're using, catalysts that we're using, can be palladium, Rani nickel or ruthenium, etc. Whereas if they are aromatic, then we are specifically going for palladium catalyst. Same way, reduction of nitrile, oximes and nitro compound, all of these groups, that is nitriles, oximes, azides, nitro compound, they all give on reduction, they will give you primary amine, that is NH2 groups. And the choice of reagent that we're using, it depends upon what type of substrate that is present. So here in this case, reduction of the C triple bond N is done by platinum catalyst. Okay, also here you can see that it was a 5-membered ring, and on a reduction it has got converted into a 6-membered ring now. So different catalysts can be used for reduction. for different reagents. Next is what is the mechanism of heterogeneous hydrogenation, or it can be also called as catalytic reduction, or you can also call it as catalytic hydrogenation. So there can be questions in three different ways, but it means the same. This is also called as catalytic reduction, or they can specifically tell heterogeneous hydrogenation or heterogeneous reduction or catalytic hydrogenation. Okay, so what happens here, how does this happen, the mechanism how a heterogeneous catalyst reduces an organic compound is explained here. Now this is a catalyst surface. It can be Lindlar's catalyst, Adams catalyst, Rani nickel, or any other catalyst that we have studied so far. So this is a surface. What does a catalyst do? One is it speeds up the reaction, plus it provides a surface for the reactions to be carried out. That is, it provides a surface where the reactants can interact with each other. So this is a catalyst surface. First, what will, because it is reduction, we need, or it is hydrogenation, so hydrogen is very important. So first hydrogen will come and attach onto the surface of the catalyst like this. One hydrogen over here, one hydrogen over here, it gets attached onto the surface of the catalyst. Next, in the next step, your organic compound which is supposed to be reduced will come. So here you can see this unsaturated compound having a double bond will come and stand over this two hydrogen atoms like this. So you can write it above the two hydrogens that are already attached onto the catalyst surface, and these dotted lines indicate that there is a partial bond formation between the catalyst and the organic compound. So it's not a very strong bond, weak van der Waals force, try to hold this organic compound onto the catalyst surface. Now next, what happens in one of the steps here itself, one of the hydrogen gets added to this carbon atom. Okay, so here we can add one hydrogen, so this double bond will go off, and one of this carbon will get one of the fourth valency here with this hydrogen. Now if you see here, because this double bond is going off, this carbon here will have only three valency, 1 2 3. 1 2 is one more hydrogen is there here, that you can write here. It is, even if it's not shown, it's understood that there is one more hydrogen here. Okay, you can draw one line here. So 1 2 and 3. Now this has only 3 valency, but carbon should have maximum 4 valency, correct? So in the next step, what happens, one hydrogen already got added here. In the next step, what happens, one more hydrogen that is there, that also will get added. And then later on, this bond here between the carbon and the catalyst, that partial bond that was formed will break off, this hydrogen will get added, and we'll get an alkane. Initially it was an alkene, now we have got an alkane. So in some cases, what happens that there can be an other unexpected product that we get, that is an alkene again. So what has happened in this case is that, see here, till here the step is same, and during the last step, that is in the product formation step, sometimes this can happen, that is called as isomerization, wherein what happens, instead of this hydrogen adding over here, what happens, this carbon, now you can see here, in case of isomerization, what happens is that this third carbon, which was already having a hydrogen, will give away its hydrogen to the catalyst. So that hydrogen will come and attach over here. So that will form, because this carbon is already having 3 bonds. Now the fourth bond will be formed by between this carbon and this carbon, that's second and third carbon. Okay, and the third carbon, what will it do, one of the hydrogen bonds that it had, it will get rid of that one of the hydrogen bond, and that hydrogen is given back to the catalyst here. So that hydrogen will attach over here, and there is a double bond formation. So you can see that the double bond which was there between carbon number 1 and 2 gets shifted between carbon number 2 and 3. So this is these two compounds that are formed, they are isomers of each other. So this is the isomeric form. So what happened, this is an unexpected product, there was no reduction at all, but what happened, instead there was isomerization. So this is a chances that in case we do using a heterogeneous catalyst, that is a drawback, is that there might be chance of isomerization. So what is isomerization, there is no reduction here, only the bond gets shifted between the double bond that was there between carbon number 1 and 2 gets shifted between carbon number 2 and 3 in case of isomerization. Whereas if isomerization does not happen, what do we get? We get an alkane. This is the reduction product. So actual mechanism is like this, but in certain cases, if this species it undergoes isomerization, then we get this particular product. So it is given as a drawback. The drawback of using heterogeneous catalyst is that there may be a chance of isomerization. So, what are some of the disadvantages of using heterogeneous catalyst or catalytic hydrogenation? Is that there is lack of selectivity. So, if there is more than one double bond present in the species, we cannot selectively reduce one double bond. There is little lack of selectivity here. This is in case of more than one unsaturated center, and there can be double bond migration may occur. That we saw in case of this previous example. We saw that the bond got migrated from carbon number 1 to 2 3 same way. So there was no reduction, instead there was double bond migration. That is one of the disadvantage, that is double bond migration may occur, and because of this it is not possible to predict the stereochemical outcome. Now here in this reaction we cannot tell will it actually undergo reduction and will we get alkanes, or will there be another product, that is isomerized product like alkenes. So we cannot predict the stereochemical outcome. And several other groups may undergo hydrogenolysis, that is the groups that we did not want the hydrogen to get added also, those groups also might undergo hydrogenolysis. So these are some of the drawbacks or disadvantages of heterogeneous catalyst. So in order to overcome this drawback, or in order to remove these disadvantages and go for a more preferable method, they went for homogeneous catalysis. That is what we are going to study next, that is about homogeneous catalyst. So next we are studying about homogeneous hydrogenation, that is in the presence of homogeneous catalyst, how we can do hydrogenation or homogeneous reduction or homogeneous catalysis. So catalytic hydrogenation, that is nothing but heterogeneous catalyst that we studied previously. They showed lot of disadvantages, like there was lack of selectivity in the presence of more than one unsaturated center, and then there was migration of double bond, and all that disadvantages were found. So we brought homogeneous hydrogenation or homogeneous catalyst. So these catalysts are those which are soluble in the reaction mixture. Unlike the previous one, these will be completely soluble in the reaction mixture. And in the previous one you studied that the reaction took place on the metal surface of the catalyst, but here, because it is soluble through in the reaction mixture, the reaction takes place, the catalysis takes place throughout the solution. So some of the example is some soluble transition metal compounds containing ligands are used as homogeneous hydrogenation catalyst, like soluble transition metals like ruthenium or ruthenium etc. They can be used, or rhodium chlorides etc. They can be used as homogeneous catalysis. Okay. So the most effective soluble catalysts are rhodium and ruthenium catalyst. And what is their advantage is that compared to heterogeneous catalyst, one is because they are soluble, they can do selective hydrogenation or selective reduction of only particular sites. Okay, not that they will reduce all the sites of the organic compound, only where we want reduction to be carried out. So specific sites can undergo reduction. So rhodium compound catalyzes the hydrogenation of only the terminal double bonds. If in case a organic compound has an aromatic ring and there's internal double bonds, and there is a terminal, that is in the beginning there's one double bond, only terminal double bond will undergo reduction and the internal double bond will remain untouched. That is the advantage of homogeneous hydrogenation over heterogeneous. If we do heterogeneous hydrogenation for such a compound, all the double bonds including the terminal and internal ones will also undergo hydrogenation. So two important examples for homogeneous catalysis is, one is Wilkinson's catalyst and one is ruthenium catalyst. So you need to know how they are prepared and how is their mechanism. Wilkinson's catalyst is PPH3 thrice RH Cl. Okay, how is it prepared? Preparation of Wilkinson's catalyst. It is done with treating RHCl3 in the presence of C6H5 thrice P and refluxing it in ethanol. We will get the Wilkinson's catalyst. And this catalysis, homogeneous catalysis, it is done in solution phase compared to there where it was present as a soluble metal oxide on whose surface the reaction would be carried out. In case of homogeneous catalysis, this is done, the catalysis reaction is done in solution phase. And ruthenium catalyst, that is the second one. This one is being prepared by using C6H5 thrice P RuCl2 in the presence of C6H6 and base such as C2H5 thrice N. So you need to know the preparation as well as the, yeah, what are the two homogeneous catalysis and how they can be prepared. So advantages of homogeneous over heterogeneous catalysis is, one is your Wilkinson's catalyst, that is your ruthenium catalyst. Can be, sorry, it is a Wilkinson's catalyst is a rhodium catalyst. So its advantage is that it can be selectively used for the reduction of non-conjugated alkenes and alkynes. What are non-conjugated alkene? Where isolated double bond is present. Okay, two double bonds, they are separated by more than one single bond, then such alkenes, they are called as non-conjugated alkene because there is no conjugation between the two double bonds. So non-conjugated alkenes and alkynes, they can be reduced in the presence of Wilkinson's catalyst. And functional group, if any, if it's present, like oxo, like keto or aldehyde, cyano groups, nitro groups or azo group, they will not be reduced. Only the double and triple bond that is present will be reduced, and the functional group will remain as such. It will not reduce the functional group. Whereas you saw that in case of the heterogeneous catalyst, aldehydes, ketones got converted into alcohol, but here that does not happen. The functional groups remain as such. So here you can see the example of linalool. You can see that the non-conjugated double bond got reduced here, but the functional group OH remains as such. See here in the case of nitro group, if we are using Wilkinson's catalyst, only either the double bond will be reduced or only the nitrogen will be reduced. In this case, you can see that the NO2, the nitro group will not be reduced to amine because we are using Wilkinson's catalyst. Had we used heterogeneous catalyst, this group also might have got reduced if we had used anything like platinum or palladium. But here, because we are using Wilkinson's catalyst, this group is retained as such, whereas only this double bond gets reduced to CH2 and CH2. Same way here in this example, in cinnamic acid example, you can see that when we are using the Wilkinson's catalyst, that is homogeneous catalyst, we can see that only this double bond gets reduced to CH2 and CH2, whereas on using heterogeneous catalysis, it undergoes hydrogenolysis. In hydrogenolysis, what happens is that one group is removed from this main reactant in the hydrogenolysis process by using heterogeneous catalysis. So you can see that the C2H5 group is not there only here. That group got eliminated on reduction of the cinnamic acid. So that is a disadvantage. In case you use heterogeneous catalysis, there will be hydrogenolysis taking place, but here all the groups are retained as such and this double bond undergoes reduction. This is another example where only the double bond undergoes reduction and the functional group is retained as such. Next, another very important question, that is, how is the mechanism of catalysis of hydrogenation using homogeneous catalyst? There we studied how in case of heterogeneous we studied, same way how it happens in case of homogeneous catalysis. How it is the reduction mechanism in case of homogeneous catalyst. Now you can see that this is our catalyst and now we are reducing this ethylene in to give alkane. Okay, ethane we want from ethylene. So how is this mechanism taking place? First is one of this group goes out as minus PC6H5 thrice. One of the group from one of the corners will go off and there is the binding of this ethylene molecule. So there is a formation of pi complex, and you can see that rhodium is bound by the pi electrons to the alkene. So you can see that one of this bond here is sigma bond, one more is pi bond. So rhodium, what it does, by that pi electrons, using that pi electron, the rhodium center, it bonds to this ethylene using the pi electrons of its pi bond. So in one of this place, there's elimination of this group, leading to attachment of the ethylene molecule over here by the pi bond. So this is called as a pi complex. Now once the pi complex is formed, what happens? Transfer of one of the hydrogen atoms to the carbon. So here this carbon is, one of this hydrogen atom gets transferred to this carbon. So here we have CH3. This double bond immediately breaks because carbon's maximum valency is 4. So if one of this hydrogen transfers onto this carbon, the valency will become 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So carbon's valency is disturbed. So there is a breaking of this double bond, and this hydrogen immediately gets transferred onto this carbon. So what do you get once that hydrogen is getting transferred? This is still CH2, CH2, CH3. And to this carbon, it has 1, 2, 3 and fourth valency now is satisfied by rhodium. So rhodium bound by a sigma bond to the alkyl group, to this CH2, this carbon, which has only 1, 2 and 3 bond. The fourth bond is formed between rhodium and carbon. So there is a sigma bond formation. First it was a pi complex because there was a pi bond forming between this pi bond of the carbon and this rhodium. Now next what happens, once the hydrogen gets transferred, there is a sigma bond formation between the rhodium and the carbon atom. Okay, so this is a sigma complex. Next, what happens after this step? One more hydrogen is there here. Once again, this hydrogen also gets transferred. Transfer of the second hydrogen atom to the carbon. So there is a transfer of this hydrogen to the carbon. So what do we get finally? CH3 and CH3 is formed, which will leave the molecule, and this group that had got eliminated will come and attach at this side. So by the end of the reaction, what we will get our catalyst as such. We will get our catalyst back as such is retained. So and finally we will get the reduction product also, that is the ethane is got. Next, what is a drawback of using homogeneous catalysis? The only one drawback that we find here is that there is decarbonylation taking place in case of homogeneous catalysis. What is decarbonylation? Elimination of the CO, carbon monoxide, taking place is called as decarbonylation. So in this example, you can see in case of benzoyl chloride, the CO group is removed. On reduction with homogeneous catalysis, the CO group gets removed and it comes out as carbon monoxide and we get chlorobenzene. So even in this case, you can see that this CO gets removed out. So we get reduction will take place, but the CO group will get removed out. So there is decarbonylation taking place in some of the species. So that is the only drawback that we see in homogeneous catalysis. Next is a small topic, that is hydrogenolysis. What is hydrogenolysis? We came across this in the beginning. That is one of the disadvantages of heterogeneous catalysis is it undergoes hydrogenolysis. It makes the organic compound undergo hydrogenolysis. So what happens in hydrogenolysis is some of the functional groups can be removed under catalytic hydrogenation condition. That when we are doing catalytic hydrogenation, some of the functional group can be removed or eliminated from the original molecule. This is known as hydrogenolysis or reductive fission. So how does this reaction proceed is that by addition of 2 electrons from the metal to the bond to be broken. Now if we have AB compound and we want to break this bond between A and B, what happens? The metal or the catalyst that we are using, heterogeneous catalyst gives 2 electrons to each of them. Okay. So on receiving one electron each, what happens? They get a minus sign because they become electron rich, each of them, correct? So they become anions, and then after that this anions on protonation, that is on adding 2H, what happens? H is in the form of H plus. This 2 of them also have minus size, so they receive one hydrogen each, so they become AH and BH. So that bond between A and B is broken successfully. So how does it proceed? First is by the taking 2 electrons from the metal, so each of them get one electron, so each of them have minus charge on them, and then because they have minus charge on each of them, they take one hydrogen atom and become AH and BH. So certain groups like allylic, benzylic, hydroxyl group, amino group, carbon sulfur single bond, they readily undergo hydrogenolysis, and there is a cleavage of bond between the carbon and the hetero atom. So this procedure can be used in deprotecting. You studied about protecting groups and deprotecting groups in retrosynthesis topic, correct? So in deprotecting the groups, we can use this process, that is hydrogenolysis. So some of the examples for hydrogenolysis is given. So here what we are using for hydrogenolysis, we are generally using palladium catalyst or Rani nickel catalyst, and in all the places you can see that there is carbon and heteroatom bond is broken. Here in case sulfur and carbon bond is broken, and this part we have got separately, to this part one hydrogen, extra hydrogen is added. So how to write hydrogenolysis reaction? Very simple. Break carbon heteroatom bond and add one hydrogen to both sides. So here if I break this bond and add one hydrogen to both the sides, what I get? RSH and CH3C6H5. Same way here also, carbon and heteroatom bond you can break. Here nitrogen bond is there, correct? So you're breaking that bond, this carbon and this heteroatom bond is broken, and write the two product that we get. Same way here all the examples are done in the same way. And hydrogenolysis is also used for the removal of hydroxyl group from the aromatic compound. Now you can see in this aromatic compound there is a OH group that is attached. To remove that group also we can use hydrogenolysis. So in this method, first what we are doing is we are converting this compound into a tosylate ester, and after that hydrogenolysis is carried out in the presence of Rani nickel. So now you can see on this product, on hydrogenolysis, this carbon and this oxygen bond, heteroatom bond, will get broken up and we will get the aromatic ring separate. So that is about hydrogenolysis. So with this way I'll be ending this video. Further there will be some topics to be discussed on same, that is reduction, that will be done in the further videos. So thank you for attending my class. Take care and bye.